This video is sponsored by Full Moon Features. If you love horror collectibles, make sure to check out Full Moon's Tiny Terrors. Stick around for more information at the end of the video, or go to the website in the link below.
Another Sunday, another case of the Scaries to start your work week. Welcome to the newest edition of the Sunday Scaries, where we have all your gore, lore, and more, covering all the latest horror happenings, slicing open all the latest horror news, and dissecting it bit by bit, finding all those juicy innards. Pour that cup of coffee, and turn on your fright lights while we take you on a tour of terror. And yes, we are in full gear of Splatterthon. Actually, the first Sunday Scaries of Splatterthon we did have to miss last week because we were bombarded with a bunch of content. And by now, you know, we did spend the majority of last weekend watching The Fall of House of Usher, which our review's up on the channel right now.
Yes, yeah, no, we were definitely hoping to get an episode of the Scaries in, but unfortunately, other things take priority, and it's kind of been an interesting transition. So thank you for bearing with us, coming from the opportunity of Fantastic Fest and then into Splatterthon. Unfortunately, it seems like that's probably going to be something we have to factor in if we plan on attending Fantastic Fest again, because they kind of really fall right into each other, which is great for us. We get to see a lot of cool stuff, and great for you guys for getting a lot of reviews. But at the end of the day, it does make this a very busy time of year. But hey, I'm still happy to do it. I'm here. We were like, let's do it. Let's get some news stories out, because there are some big boys, Luke. Is that correct? We have a kind of a smorgasbord of things that we didn't get to talk about, and new things, and some fun things. So, this is definitely going to be an interesting episode.
Absolutely. I mean, you miss 1 week, and in the horror community, there's just so much news being bombarded here. So, there was a couple things we had to kind of cherry pick a little bit. We tried to get the most current news, but since we did miss a couple juggernaut of topics, I would say that we kind of do have to touch on those this week because we can't leave everyone hanging. They want to know what we think of. Well, Dylan, you can hop us into that first bit of news.
Yeah, and that first bit of news, of course, everybody knows already by now, is that the future of the Halloween series is, alive and well. They are shopping the rights. Miramax and Malakakad, they're interested in film and TV properties. Now, we have been talking about it a lot. We've mentioned it, many times over the last year, of just where we think Halloween is going to end after what happened with Halloween Ends, or where it's going to end up, I guess I should say. And we've had some ideas. We've had some cool things. I got a little video essay up on the channel from last Splatterthon, talking about a concept that I think would be really fun to see come to life. And I think that this is encouraging. We're just back to square one again. We get this every few years. I guess every decade or so, one of these horror icons gets picked up or brought back. And yeah, it's a little quicker than I thought it would be, but I think the angle on this is to primarily go towards television this time around.
Yeah, I'm intrigued, for sure. I know when I don't think anyone bought, after seeing Halloween Ends exactly, it was actually the end of the Halloween franchise.
Oh, I thought it was over.
Oh man, well, I think you're on that island alone, buddy. But so this one kind of coming out and saying, "Hey, we're shopping it around again." I didn't know if it was going to be this soon. I figured we see Michael back in the theater at some point, or on streaming now, apparently. So I wasn't when this news came out, you always hear those rumblings, but I wasn't taking anything too seriously. But as more conversations are happening, and Dylan mentioned his video essay, I know that one was floating around Twitter after this news came out, saying maybe we should take a look at a couple different properties that never came to be. I even seen I mean, there's a billion rumors out there, and I don't think this one holds any water, but because I did not see an actual article about it, I don't think, but it was taking place in the Halloween 3 universe of a streaming limited series or something like that, which would be interesting. I think Halloween Ends kind of touched on that odd community of everyone kind of being off after Michael had done his reign of terror, so to speak. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do. I think there is, a rich universe here, and I know A24's been attached to this conversation. So, with Friday 13th coming out, and kind of expanding upon that, taking that TV route, I could easily see Halloween doing the same.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that Halloween can definitely find a life on TV. The thing about it too is like it's tough for me to say this with any property. I'm excited for Crystal Lake, and I think I'm more accepting of even if we just get Crystal Lake as what we're getting right now because I really just want another Friday the 13th property. Like that is my series as far as all the slashers go. I love Jason. I love Friday the 13th, Camp Crystal Lake, all that shit. um, but for me, I really do think that these would be best served as like um either doing it the Crystal Lake way where you're doing like a remake but you're going long form and you're retelling stories or you're kind of giving new edges to them and things like that. Or if you're doing more or less a film that with the Halloween universe specifically, a film centered around Michael Myers or a series of films, and then you can do the Halloween 3 continuation anthology idea on television because I think that would be best served as a streaming concept. I think that I would love seeing it in theaters, but we cannot underestimate general audiences really only knowing Halloween for Michael.
Yeah, and that's where it's, I never expected to get an expenditure of the Halloween 3 universe. I figured that was a one and done property pretty much, from its reception. But like now that the possibility that this could go to streaming, that seems like that kind of happy medium for it because there is such a cult audience for it. But I don't think it's a cult audience to actually jump into the theater. I don't think that would translate. So this kind of being that fun little property that is on a Peacock or wherever it shows up, that you can kind of just digest, even if it is a limited series, would be interesting. But like I think there is a lot of time, even if we put this in that Halloween universe and just have something called Haddonfield, and it's just kind of these random events happening. I think we had talked about this maybe a year ago, when we were kind of thinking of our ideas. I think that would be really interesting. Just kind of the town and weird things happening. Maybe every supernatural elements are always drawn to this town because of what happened with Michael Myers. So I think that could be interesting. I think this does leave a lot of promise on the table for us to kind of see how many branches we can get out of the whole Halloween tree and see what kind of different properties and kind of unique things. Again, Halloween Ends, I think, was a unique story. Again, we thought it didn't really hit for that ending of the trilogy, but that would have been a unique story to kind of tell in this kind of expanding of the Halloween universe.
100%. I definitely would like to see that continued. I know a long time ago, you and I had a little bit of a back and forth, a pitch of just even like a short film that we would do to kind of harken back to Halloween 3 and to where it lies and everything. And I just think that there's, enough there to again, I think sink a television budget into it. And I mean, I know TV is getting very expensive. It's getting just about as much as movies, it seems. But it is one of those things I think that you could find an audience for that. And I think that maybe general audiences, if pitched the right way, like you said, maybe call it Haddonfield and not Halloween, maybe they could latch on to this a little tighter nowadays because it is one of those things where they just have to not blindside people. The internet wasn't around when Halloween 3 came out. So you title something Halloween 3, and even though the trailers probably had nothing, and they were maybe even saying, I got to look back and say like they were being adamant that Michael isn't in this, you're still going to have people that were put off. But nowadays, people will know every goddamn thing there is to know about a movie before they go see it, which kind of sucks. But at the same time, that's the time we're living in. So if you're making that informed decision to watch this and you get there day one and you're upset that Michael's not in it, then like I don't know how to help you. Like that's just really where I sit with it. I think this is exciting. I think that we have a long road ahead of us before we get any concrete decisions. But I'm really curious to see where this ends up. I know A24 has been one of the front runners here for this property, and they want to do television.
Yeah, and again, this universe is really rich in terms of different stories that they can tell. I know Malika Cod came out I think, and had said, there were some kernels of truth into what was coming out over the past few weeks in terms of the news, and that we may be getting some actual Halloween news prior to Halloween here. So it'll be intriguing to see, if we get some sort of confirmation, if we get an idea of a direction they're going to go, because there's a lot they can do here, not just with Michael Myers, but just as the Halloween property as a whole.
Absolutely. I agree with you there, sir. Alrighty, but moving on, we're going to talk about another story here with someone that we're very familiar with. I think the whole horror community has become very familiar with her and her work, and we're excited to see where she goes. But she is in a new film called The Well, and yes, we're talking about Lauren Lavera. She's got a new horror movie coming out that promises to be just as brutal and gory as a Terrifier 2. I mean, the imagery that we're getting to see here is pretty damn impressive, I must say, especially this fella right here. I like that. I like what I'm seeing. He's definitely got some intestines right there that he's playing with. But this looks cool, man. This is definitely on my radar now. I was very kind of I guess out of the loop on this. I knew she was doing another horror property, but I didn't know exactly what this was gonna be 100%. But you can see there from that's very Terrifier 2 imagery right here. Yeah, it's looking pretty spicy for the well.
Yeah, as Dylan just scrolled through those images, they're definitely disturbing, and you're getting those Terrifier feelings here. So I'm curious. This has definitely piqued my interest. To see where they're gonna go. Looks like hopefully heavy into practical stuff. That the monster
Mhm.
there looks amazing. So I'm curious to see how they're really gonna use that in this film. I think she plays a art restorer. If I
Mhm.
think I read that little blurb, but it has to deal with a painting, so we're familiar a little bit. But it should be interesting property. I think this leaves um a lot of room to play in, because it's very vague. It kind of sounds like we get the setup in that little blurb there, and they can really go anywhere with this thing. And some of these images that they're showing, I have no idea how this would fit into any sort of story. So I think they're really going to go a little bit off the wall here, which I'm absolutely for, after like seeing something like a Terrifier 2 last year, and being able to see so many great horror films throughout that year, but Terrifier 2 was really something of its own kind. And I think, I'm getting that here from The Well. I think, comparing it to Terrifier 2 is definitely, obviously, big shoes to fill, but I think this could be somewhere in that realm. I don't think it's going to, hit the mark exactly, but I think it's going to be in that same vein of a Terrifier 2 or some of those like, really gory horror things. So, I expect this one to be at least some sort of terrifying.
Yeah, and I'm definitely curious to see how this is going to pan out. I definitely would like to see this actually be a surprise and another gore fest that everybody can get excited for, kind of to hold us over as we wait for Terrifier 3. But I definitely think this is going to be very different. It looks very different. Obviously, it's much older. And it looks like we're going a little deeper into a more of a supernatural aspect, less of
Yeah.
a slasher aspect, which I know I'm not stupid. I know that Terrifier has supernatural aspects. We just don't know what exactly is going on with our boy Art the Clown there just yet. But yeah, no, I'm intrigued. It's Lauren Lavera. I'd love to see her in another property. I'd love to see how she works outside of working with Damien Leone. And yeah, just to see where this goes. I mean, like she is the current front runner for the modern day Scream Queen. I would say with most horror lovers and fans. So this is encouraging.
Yeah, and I love to see that career trajectory. She is going to be the one to get when you're doing probably smaller horror properties. Her name, she has a lot of name value. I think she's going to carry over a good audience. Same thing, with kind of like the mean one, David Howard Thornton, kind of being in
Hmm.
there, and everyone eager to see his performance. So I'm excited. I can't believe things, like Terrifier 2 really took off and has really helped so many careers, and is really kind of reestablishing a particular kind of horror, which I think, we were all missing for a little bit. So I'm curious to see what this is going to lead to. I think it's playing at Scarefest or something. If
Yeah,
I could
Screamfest.
Screamfest. Okay. So this one, I don't know what that release is going to look like, but if this one does pop in the theater, I would love to end up checking this one out.
Absolutely. And you know that I'll do my research and see who I have to bother about potentially getting an early review copy out for us so we can get that seen and watched for you guys. But alrighty, moving on to our next story for something I'm definitely excited, staying, or I guess going back into the realm of slashers, but not just slashers. We're talking holiday slashers. Yes. More news for the Eli Roth Thanksgiving. You know, we are very excited for this. Again, if you don't know, this is the kind of, I guess you want to call it an adaptation or, bringing to
Expenditure,
the big
maybe of.
screen of his basically his trailer from the film Grindhouse in 2007. This is something that I know a lot of people have been waiting to see. I know it was talked about years ago, and the fact that it's actually here and that when we went and saw The Exorcist, we're seeing this trailer playing in front of it, it's so encouraging. I'm so looking forward to this. I really Eli Roth, he has more hits than misses with me, but it's one of those things where it's like, I never know what he's going to bring when it comes to a horror property because he does have a lot of variation. Everything from the Green Inferno to Hostel to Knock Knock. It's like he likes to play in a lot of worlds, but seeing him do kind of like a traditional like holiday slasher, I just feel like this is going to be fireworks on screen for us.
I am absolutely pumped for this one. Every time we go to the theater, it's only been a couple of times thus far with, Thanksgiving being out, but I'm always excited to see that trailer play and any teasers that we do get. I just love the imagery here. I mean,
Hmm.
it's no secret we love our holiday horror, and Thanksgiving is something that, hasn't really been taken advantage of too much in the horror realm. So to kind of get something a little bit different than what we're used to seeing. And I mean, this thing is owning what it is. You look at the trailer, it knows what audience it's appealing to. Looks like a lot of dumb fun for me. I'm curious to see, what kind of story they're going to fully attach to this one in terms of who the slasher is and everything. But, just looking at that 2.5 minute trailer, a lot of
Hmm.
great looking kills in there with the little I don't know what they're called, but I think they go into corn and going
Oh
right through
yeah,
the ear.
the little the ear like
Yeah,
holders,
and
corn holder.
and then the close up of that with the little smiley face on it. I mean, again, it knows what it is. It's pleasing the horror audience, and I'm excited. I'm not, like this is one that I'm going to go into just to enjoy. I'm not looking for something that's absolute perfection of a film. I just want to have some fun, and I think that's what Thanksgiving's given to us.
I hope so. And I think again when this first all started hitting and everybody saw the teaser trailer, I don't remember who exactly said it, but on Twitter somebody had said this is literally just the like mid 2000s remake of his original trailer. And if it's that energy, man, like I think that we are far enough away from the Platinum Dunes era horror that it's like to kind of riff on that would be amazing. I think that that would be so much fun to see, especially though because I think with the kills and everything, it seems like they're not losing their roots
Mhm.
with kind of what they were trying to portray in that Grindhouse film. Which, again, if you have not seen Grindhouse, it's so worth the watch. It's a wonderful double feature. Planet Terror is a whole buttload of fun, and Death Proof is actually, I think, probably Tarantino's most underrated film.
Oh yeah, we both have a love for Death Proof, or we'll probably end
Mhm.
up on the podcast at some point. I
Oh,
know we had
absolutely.
it we had it kind of penciled in on our first run of Splattercast, but um, this again, Eli Roth for me, I'm more so in the middle with him. Some things hit, some things don't, but this one is for me firing on all cylinders. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The stuff that we've seen looks pretty graphic. Again, we saw it in the teaser, we saw it in the bigger trailer. The employee being dunked in the water and then being stuck onto the freezer, just something that really hits for me. And then I think we saw someone being put into an oven maybe. And again, I
Mhm.
love the look of this slasher here. It's a lot of fun. It's really leaning into the Thanksgiving imagery. So the town looks like a beautiful setup. I love that opening of him cutting up all the food and everything like that. It just looks like it's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait to get to the theater for this one because I have an expectation of just having fun for this one.
Oh, 100%. And then of course we're gonna hop on over to the other holiday I guess horror that we have coming soon. And this one kind of came up really fast and out of nowhere for us, but I gotta say I'm also really looking forward to this. I think to preface it, a little bit of a lower budget on this one, which is never a bad thing for slashers, but I don't know what the exposure is going to be like, as to where I think that Thanksgiving's kind of going to have a wider release. This one might be more of a streaming hit, but that is It's a Wonderful Knife, which, if you guys haven't been keeping up with us on the social media stuff, like Luke has just cracked the code for us recently and been found a nice way for us to kind of get these stories to you guys. And this was one of them. This is one of the write ups he did. It's a little graphic that we've been putting up there. So when we have news, like that's going to be the fastest way to get a little bit of our thoughts and opinions before we hit Sunday Scaries. But yeah, this looks pretty cool. I definitely am interested in this. I think that this looks fun. This looks very much in line with like a Scream s kind of thing. I mean, the mask is very Scream. But this is definitely intriguing. I think this could be another good bit of fun. It seems like they're going for more of a mystery with this one. So I'm very curious to see what's going on.
I was excited when this had first come out. Just the little blurb before we even got in a trailer. Obviously, the leaning into Christmas is actually perfection. I mean, seeing the trailer and kind of getting that little Christmas soundtrack already. Christmas lights, the snow. This one looks exciting. Really kind of kicking off that horror Christmas season a little bit for us. I think it says what theatrical release on November 10th. But with that, who knows what that is going to really look like. Hopefully we get something near here so we can actually check this one out because this then the following week Thanksgiving would just be an awesome double feature. But again, this one I think is going to be a lot of fun. Um, After seeing Totally Killer, and I know this one in a sense kind of deals not necessarily with 100% like time travel, but our main character wishing that she never existed and then kind of altering the events of what had happened with the slasher, again, is really exciting stuff because we're kind of dealing with that same element of knowing how things are supposed to work out and then an alternate timeline. So I really want to see how they approach it. I was so pleased with Totally Killer and their approach with that. I want to see if they do anything different or unique here. And then this one's going to be also out on Shutter at some point. So
Yeah.
if you don't catch it in the theater, definitely it's going to be streaming.
Yeah, and RLJE Films and Shutter have been doing a wonderful job of getting these into theaters. I know right now they have When Evil Lurks, which we do have a screener for. We are going to be covering it at some point within the
I'm
next few
excited.
days. Yeah, because we're definitely eager to do it. We just got to get around to it. We got to honestly punch through a couple more things, really put an end to the Fantastic Fest coverage, which has been great. But once we get past that, we can kind of slow down a bit and get you guys some more fun stuff that we've been wanting to talk about. But I'm looking forward to both of these. Personally, I'm looking a little bit more forwards Thanksgiving, but I will take what I can get with both of them. And that leaves us with our final piece of news for the day. And then, of course, we're talking Terrifier news with Lauren Rivera, but we're also going to be talking Terrifier news here with Terrifier 3 teaser playing in theaters on November 1st. It's going to be 2 minutes long. Damian Leone knows what we're looking for. He's not some studio shill who's like, here's 30 seconds and have fun with that. No, but this just made this re release so much more exciting. We're definitely planning on going to see it again. I think that we're going to try to grab some friends and try to go. But yeah, we definitely want to get you guys a reaction, a review of this 2 minute teaser. I think that's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to kind of see where that goes for us. Because with that, if you buy a ticket, if you're in like the first 100 people at each theater, you get like a teaser poster as well. And us, if you look in our backgrounds, we love these posters. But seriously, the Terrifier team, Bloody Disgusting, Screambox, all these guys, they do a wonderful job of showing up for the fans. And this is just them again showing bigger studios and other things like how exactly you pull people back in to see these films over and over.
Yeah, I'm saying that this is gonna be 2 minutes. I mean, seeing Terrifier, you can really achieve a lot in 2 minutes. So I'm curious to see if it's just gonna be something absolutely graphic to really kind of get us going, with that anticipation. Because how big Terrifier 2 was, and how it kind of redefined a lot of things in the way horror marketing became, and releases and things like that. It was a no brainer that we're just anticipating Terrifier 3. So to kind of get a little grain there and see what we're going to be in store for. I'm absolutely pumped for it because again, Terrifier 2 is so graphic. We're going to show us 2 minutes of something. Man, that's a lifetime in filmmaking. So I can't wait to see what it's going to be. I can't wait to just sit down and watch Terrifier 2 again because yeah, we both have the Blu-rays and stuff, but a year ago when we sat in the theater, what an experience it was.
It was, we talk about it constantly and just how much fun it is. And I've got two Blu-rays and a 4K over there. So it's like one of those things where it's like I own this movie on digital too, 10 times over. But I am just excited, honestly, to hop back in the theater. I really want to get people there who I've just expressed this to and said, you guys are not ready. You have not seen anything yet. If you are thinking you've seen the absolute goriest slasher. And again, I think the thing that helps with this film and why you're going to get people back in the theater is because it's got a really good story. And again, you cannot understate that. The first film, not much in the vein of story. It was very much a proof of concept, and that's a film I will probably revisit very sparingly, more or less just for ceremonial reasons. But Terrifier 2, yeah, I really like what they're setting up. I really can't wait for Terrifier 3 to see the payoff. And yeah, I think that it's safe to say now that Art the Clown, he is definitely going to pop up and stay, I think, as a new horror icon.
Yeah, and with all our big boys, with Jason, Michael, kind of being in the big polished studios, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I think they produce some decent stuff, and a lot of great stuff that potentially on the horizon here. But Art the Clown, Terrifier really seems like that underground, that cult following right now for the horror fans. And I know they said there's enough material here to get past Terrifier 3 and to get even more films out of there. And everyone loves Art the Clown. It's something where even if we end up closing this chapter and wrapping up this story, there's always going to be that next thing for Art. So he's a, like you said, horror icon already with the cult horror community. So I think this is going to bring a lot of people out to check this out and kind of start trickling into maybe a general audience. I'm really intrigued to see how this is going to turn out.
Me too, man. I'm excited for this. It's going to be a great way to kind of, again, say sayonara to unfortunately the end of the October and Halloween season. And then yeah, this is a nice little precursor to hold us over until we get to Eli Roth's Thanksgiving and then A Wonderful Knife. And yeah, all the other great stuff that we just talked about today. I mean, seriously, new Halloween. The Well looks pretty intriguing. Again, it's another jam-packed week of pretty awesome news. I definitely enjoyed coming back here and just getting to talk about it and get our thoughts out there. But unfortunately, that is everything that we have for you guys today. So let us know what you thought. These are definitely some fun stories. And are you going to go check out Terrifier 2? Is that something that you're going to go back to the theater and see? Did you miss it last time and you want to see it on the big screen? Like, I'm very curious to see how this does. It'd be great to see this, at least have a few sold out theaters again and
That would
really
not
bringing
surprise
people
me.
back into it. Oh yeah,
Got to
it'd be
get those
great.
tickets. They seem to be going, at least as I'm watching, people buying tickets locally. So, I can imagine that's going to be everywhere.
Oh yeah, 100%. We'll see what happens there. Definitely going to have some more Terrifier content leading up to that for us here on the channel, so keep an eye out for that. But that ends us here for this week's edition of the Sunday Scaries. We're definitely going to try our best to make it back here again next week. Like I said, we did have our review for Fall, The House of Usher. Just go out this weekend. What a masterful piece of art there. Definitely check out that review, check out that show. And of course, we did see The Exorcist and Totally Killer over the weekend as well. So lots of stuff on the way and lots of stuff already up. So until next time, I am Dylan Newell.
And I'm Luke Janesco.
And remember, stay scared.